Hi there. And round three, the final round for now, is already here. Can you believe it? So today we're going to talk a bit about how to use the law of attraction to manifest what you want. And I just want to say thank you so much for joining me because I love to share all of this material. And I know that it's already starting to make even a little bit of a difference for you. So on day one, I said, you're not here by accident, right? You're here because you tuned in because something resonated with you about this, and you're thinking about making some changes, and you're wanting something a bit different. So it's really, starting to become time to invest in you and in what you want. So think about that goal that we've talked about for the last couple of days, about that thing that you really want, and then imagine how that would benefit you and all the people in your life, all the people around you, if you achieve that. Wouldn't it be absolutely great if you could? And the thing is that you really can. And hopefully the last couple of days have shown a little bit about how that's actually going to be possible. So, you've started to find out a little bit about the how now. So you can just focus on the what you want. Before I forget, I have a special offer for you at the end of the session. We'll get into that way later. And so this masterclass is called Unlock Your True Potential. Now, it sounds great, but what does it actually mean? We can use all of these buzzwords, but let's get into what they actually mean. So I looked it up in the Oxford Dictionary. So potential. Let's read it, is the possibility of something happening or being developed or used. Okay, so the possibility of something happening or being developed or being used. Now, you have infinite potential inside of you. As I said before, if you can think it, you can be, do, and have it. Because really, otherwise you would not have come up with that idea. You've already got everything you need inside of you to achieve what you want. So whatever it is that you really want, it is absolutely possible. You totally have potential for everything you want. Right? So true. So the word true means, according to Oxford Dictionary, connected with facts rather than things that have been invented or guessed. Now, it is a fact that success is a system because it's governed by all the universal laws. And we talked about some of these over the last couple of days. For instance, the law of cause and effect, where we said every action has a reaction. So your thoughts are creating your feelings, your conditioning, which in turn dictate and control your actions. So the reaction then that we get from our actions, we would call our results. We talked about law of polarity. Everything has an equal opposite. So there is a negative and a positive side to everything, also to whatever it is that we want. So we're going to learn to focus on the positive, how we can, rather than why we can't. So basically, when you follow the system, you will absolutely realize your true potential because it is true. And it is your potential, right? It's unique to you because your unique wants to itself. That's you. You're the best at being you. Nobody is as good at being you as you are. So be you. And then unlock. So unlock means to open or release as if undoing a lock, or to open anything firmly closed or joined. So what we're starting to do here is we're starting to open our mind and to allow different thoughts and ideas to come to you. And by setting that C-type goal and starting to give it some serious consideration, you are now opening yourself up to the possibilities of how to do it, right? So for you, what is your potential? Think about it. So just a really quick recap. So day one was all about goals. And I said, for us to feel good, we have to be working towards what we call a worthy ideal, right? We have to be moving towards something that we want. And we always feel better when we've got something to look forward to, right? So we feel better when we booked a holiday because we're looking forward to going to the holiday. And as long as you have a goal that excites and delights you and scares you a little bit, you're going to feel good because you're working towards something that you want. Now, most of the time, we don't even allow ourselves to think about what we really want, right? We just sort of live our lives as it is. We don't really change anything. But if you don't change anything now, you really are going to be doing the same thing in 12 months' time, in 2 years, in 3 years, in 5 years, in 10 years' time. And if you're not enjoying what you're doing right now, you're going to be extremely frustrated and unhappy for the foreseeable future, right? And that's not what we want. So now think again of your goal, that thing that you really want. And now imagine that it's not impossible. And as I said, suspend with disbelief for just a little moment. And then I actually bet you're already feeling a little bit better about it now than what you did on the first day. And when you first thought about it, there's probably a little sparkle of possibility that has already been awakened, right? Which is great. So what is it what you want? Now imagine that it happened, that it actually materialized, you manifested it. Then ask yourself, how would you feel? How would you feel when you manifested that? How would you benefit from it? And what would it mean for the people in your life, for your loved ones? How would they benefit from it? Now, wouldn't it be amazing if you actually did it? And you totally can. And that's why it excites me so much, because I just know 100% guaranteed if you follow that success system, it's going to happen for you. Now, we reckon that there's only about 3% of people that really live the life that they truly want to live. And it absolutely takes courage to step out. It takes courage to even think about what you want, right? So you need to pluck up the courage and take a step out and do something about it. It's not normal to really live the life that we truly want to live, because not many of us are. And the thing is that you cannot really follow the same logic as everybody else if you want things to be different for you, because what everybody else is doing ain't working for them. Now, do you really want to be working 60, maybe 80 hours every week? So a lot of my clients, that's how they start. That's what they were doing when they started working with me. Do you really want to be thinking about work most of the time? Do you not want to be spending quality time with your loved ones? I'm sure you don't want to be feeling stressed or tired and having no energy most of the time and feeling like you're behind all the time or like you're catching up, which never happens. And you really don't have to live like that, right? Because it's most of it is habitual, and a lot of it is down to what we believe we need to do to earn the money or to be appreciated, or we have responsibilities, so we've got to do it. Now, it's actually relatively easy to change, and it's relatively quick to achieve it, to do it differently. In fact, it is actually easier than having to put up with SHIT for the next 10 years, right? So it really isn't logical to achieve those C-type goals. So to make it happen, you've got to start doing some stuff that may seem illogical, but it is going to get you to your goal. And really the only thing that's holding you back is between your ears, right? It's what stories that you are telling yourself about what you want. And they are basically not true. So if you have a goal and you're not moving in the direction of it, if the thoughts that you're thinking are not conducive to you achieving the goal, they are not true. Okay, so you have to then re-explore. But the thing is that those thoughts and those stories are habitual. And the part of our conditioning, our programming, and our paradigms basically rule the roost. We talked about that a lot yesterday. So what are you telling yourself about your goal, about what you want? And then change the negative story to a positive. Just reject any of the negative ideas about it. So instead of saying, I want this, but I can't because, say, I want this and I'm looking forward to figuring out how to do it. I'm going to say that again. Right? And I really want you to think about how you feel when you say, I want this, but I can't because. How does that feel? What's the feeling that's created inside of you? Now, how do you feel when you say, I want this and I'm looking forward to figuring out how to do it? It's a very, very different feeling, right? Very different. And the actions that you're going to take from saying one or the other are very, very different. And in fact, if you say to yourself, well, I'd like this, I really want this, but I can't because, it's very likely you're not going to take any action. Whereas if you say, I really, really want this and I'm going to figure out how to do it, ideas about actions will pop up, and guess what? They're going to move you in the direction of your goal. So nearly all we do, nearly all we believe is habitual. So if you want to go back into that, go back into day 2. We talked about that a lot. So when you set your C-type goals, so you're thinking about the thing that you really, truly want, you're not going to know how to achieve it, right? Because it's new and you have to learn. So when you think about your goal, what are some of the things that you're going to have to learn? So give that serious thought and then start taking, the first step towards gaining some understanding and some knowledge and starting to learn things. You're a clever cookie, right? You know you can do it, but you've just got to take that first step towards it. So today is a big day because we're going to talk about law of attraction. Now, actually, the law of attraction is a secondary law, right? What we really want to concern ourselves with is the law of vibration. And it's the law of vibration that triggers the law of attraction, that puts it sort of into motion. So we mentioned yesterday that everything vibrates and nothing is still. Everything is always in motion. And everything, absolutely everything, is energy. Everything tangible is energy, and everything that's not tangible is also energy. Like your thoughts and your feelings, they are energy. So have you ever walked into a room and felt energy? Right? So maybe there are two people in the room and they've just been arguing. Now, they're not arguing when you're walking in the room, but you can feel the atmosphere, right? That's energy. You can go into someone's home and you feel a certain energy about the home. Some homes have soul, I always say, and some don't. You feel it. So everything is energy in some shape or form. Think about water and ice and steam. It's the same essence, but it's vibrating at a different speed. Now, the thing with energy is that it always returns to its source, right? So that means that when you give out good, you'll receive back good. Now, the thing is that what most of us tend to do is say we do something for somebody and we expect that person to do something back for us. But that isn't how it works. It doesn't have to come back from who you have given it to. It can come back from somewhere else. So you can be kind to one person and then another person maybe be kind and help you out. So you never have to expect something back from anybody, which gives you a lot of freedom to really give from your heart, because there's a big difference between giving from your heart and trading. And when we have an expectation to get something back from somebody, really we are trading. Okay, so you can freely give in the complete knowledge and understanding that what you give will come back to you from somewhere. So when you send out negative thoughts, you will get negative results. And when you send out positive thoughts, you get positive results. And we've all experienced this, right? When we've had a crappy start to the day, it just seems to get worse and worse as we go along. And when things go well, things all go well. Now, this is an interesting point as well. Nothing is created or destroyed. So everything that ever was, everything that ever will be, is already here. And that's great news, right? Because actually we don't even really need to create anything because it's already here in one shape or form. We just need to tap into it. And, Bob gives the example of like the internet. Now, the internet has always been here. We just didn't know how to work it. Before the Wright brothers decided that they were going to build a plane and fly, that possibility was always there. There was just not somebody sort of tapping into that. So we really just need to tap into what it is that we want. So let's talk about frequencies, because that's really what this is about. So now imagine that you're calling your friend on the phone. So you have to dial their number. Now, if you dialed even one different digit, you'd be talking to a stranger, or you wouldn't get connected at all with anything. So your friend is on their particular phone frequency. Now, you might be listening to rock music on a radio station, and maybe that rock music is broadcasting at 98.4 FM. In the UK, we have a radio station called Rock FM. I think it broadcasts at 98.4 FM, but anyway, just for the example. Now, then you decide that you want to listen to classical music. So you tune into maybe 100.8 AM, because that's where the classical music is broadcasting. So as soon as you tune into that channel, you're listening to classical music. You are experiencing classical music. Now, the thing is that radio station, that classical music radio station, they didn't just start broadcasting because you tuned in. They didn't go, okay, I'm tuning in, and all of a sudden they get everybody together and they start making the music. No, they were already broadcasting, and they may have been on that frequency for 50 years or longer. The thing is that you just tuned into it. And because you tuned into it, you are now experiencing it. Another example, maybe you're watching a movie on Netflix, but now the football match or the soccer match is on, and you switch channels to Sky Sports. So because you switched channels, you went into the different channel, now you're experiencing the match because you tuned into that channel. So have you ever thought of maybe buying a car? And all of a sudden you see that car everywhere, right? When I was pregnant with my son, nearly 21 years ago, all of a sudden I started seeing prams and babies everywhere. Never seen it before, but as soon as I was pregnant, that's what I started to see around me. So let's try this. So I want you to look around if you're in a room or a car, wherever you are, look around you and find all the things that are brown. So have a look around and sort of clock all the things that are brown. Okay. Now, how many red things did you see? So now look around the room again and then find all the things that are red. Look. I'm looking at photographs and t-shirts and all that kind of stuff. Okay. Now it's amazing, isn't it? Because all the red things were already there, but you didn't notice them because you were focusing on brown. And now if I asked you how many green things were in the room, you'd have to go and have a look, right? So now focus on the green things that are in the room or the blue things. Everything's already there, but it depends on what you're focusing on. That's what you're going to experience. Okay, so everything is on its own frequency. So what do you tune into? What do you focus on? Are you focusing and tuning into possibilities, or are you focusing and tuning into limitations? So if everything is on its own frequency, then of course that means that your goal is also on its own frequency. Now I've got a little card here. So now imagine that the lines are frequencies, and they're trillions, uncountable frequencies, right? So you're there on this frequency because that's you today, but the you with your goal would be on this frequency. So all you need to do is up your frequency, right? You've got to up your vibration, increase your vibration. So to meet up with your goal, you've got to get to the frequency of your goal. And your vibration has to be in harmony with your goal and aligned with your goal. So what we always say then is what you have to do is you have to start living from the goal as if you already achieved it, as if it's already right here, right now. Act as if. So what you can start to think is, okay, well, how would a person with the goal achieved think? How would I, when I'm at my goal, how would I think? How would I feel? How would I act? How would I behave? How would I respond to a person or a situation? And how would I approach myself? With my goal achieved, how would I be approaching myself? What would I be saying to myself? Would I give myself a hard time, or would I give myself support? How would I feel? How would I think? How would I act? So, for instance, how would you feel? How would you think and feel? And what would you do if something didn't go to plan? So really start living from that goal. Start to already be and act like the person that you will be when you're at your goal. You see, the thing is that once we have the right goal, because ultimately, especially a C-type goal, that will be you fulfilling your purpose, right? So we all have a purpose in life, but we all fulfill that purpose in a different way. So the goal is helping you to fulfill that purpose. So, I feel that my purpose in life is to help people help themselves to live the life that they really want to live, to not be stressed anymore, to wake up every day and feel great, to add lots of value to people. And that's how I fulfill my purpose, is through being a coach. But someone else may do that through being a doctor or a police officer or a fireman or a nurse or whatever. So your goal doesn't change, but your plans to get there will change, right? So you're learning along the way. So you start off with a plan. It's never going to be perfect, but you start. And you're learning along the way what works, what doesn't work. And then you just tweak and adjust and course correct continuously. This is what Edison did. They say he failed 9,999 times before he actually worked out how to have incandescent light, right? But he didn't give up. He just said, well, I've just found out how not to do it. So when something doesn't work out, all it means is that you found out how not to do it. So now you're getting closer to finding out how to do it. Now, remember, one of the ingredients that we talked about on day one that cause you and help you to achieve your goal is persistence. So you've got to be persistent in coming up with new plans, with new ideas, with new perceptions. And the thing is that we are all persistent in some or maybe a lot of things, right? But sometimes, maybe a lot of the time, We're persistent in the wrong things. We're persistent in the things that don't get us to our goal. Remember, I talked yesterday about the knowing doing gap. We can be very persistent in doing things that are not getting us the results that we want, or very persistent in not doing the things that are going to get us the results. Right? So be persistent in coming up with those new plans and new ideas and new perceptions on your way to your goal. So basically, you have to be it before you can have it, right? Before you can manifest it. Now, the key thing is that you have to feel it, not just visualize, not just write and say affirmations. You must really feel it to attract it. So this is where many, many people go wrong, as did I myself for a very long time, writing down my goal, visualizing things, but not putting a feeling into it. Now, the thing is that our thoughts are electric, so they send out a message. And your feelings are magnetic, and that's what attracts things to you. So feelings is just a way to describe the vibration that your body is in. So law of vibration, if your body is in a high vibration, in a positive vibration, guess what? You're going to attract positive things to you. So really, you become what you feel about, right? And what we feel is, of course, created by our thoughts. And what we tend to say is, oh, seeing is believing. But that's really not true. It's the opposite way around. It's believing is seeing. Otherwise, you're saying, give me the heat, and then I'll put on some wood. Well, that doesn't work, right? You've got to put the wood on. You've got to put, light the gas first before you can feel the heat. So believing is seeing. Once you believe it, it's going to happen. Now, Joe Dispenza said, he's brilliant. I think I mentioned it before. You can contact the emotions of your future. So when you think about your goal, when you are imagining it, so imagine, do that right now. Imagine your goal right now. Imagine how you feel with your goal achieved. Right? So maybe you're excited. You feel successful. You feel accomplished. Maybe you're relieved. Finally. Maybe you're calm, relaxed, chilled out. Now imagine working 30 hours a week instead of 60. How does that feel? Imagine having lots of free time, more than enough money. How does that feel? And imagine being fit and healthy. How does that feel? Imagine that relationship that you want to improve. How does that feel when it's great? So start to write down these feelings and then really get into them, really get emotionally involved, because we can feel that now. We can say, okay, well, if this happened, this is how I would feel. So even start thinking about your feelings, and then it will start to actually bring up the feelings, start to bring up that excitement in your tummy. So, we want things because it is really natural for us to want more and better, because it's our normal inclination to seek expansion, because that's us being part of nature, and nature is always expanding, universe is always expanding. But sort of our more conscious reason for wanting something is because we believe that we will feel better in the having of it. So we believe that we will feel better once we have achieved our goal. Once we have what we want, we believe we will feel better. So think about how you want to feel, and then find reasons to feel that right now. Because if you are feeling that right now, that's where you're attracting your goal to you. That makes sense. So one of the things that's a massive game changer is gratitude. Right? So get into the habit of writing a gratitude journal. So get yourself a really nice pen and a really nice notebook. And every morning, really before you start your day, and every evening before you go to sleep, write down things that you are grateful for. So what we do is, in my training, is we write down 10 things we're grateful for. And while we're writing it down, you're thinking about the feeling. Okay, so you're feeling the gratefulness, and you're saying, so things like, I'm really grateful for my income, because my income gives me security, it gives me freedom. I'm really grateful for my fit and healthy body, because I feel energized, I feel happy, I feel free. Okay, so the thing is that you marinate in your thoughts all night. So whatever you're thinking about as you're dropping off to sleep, you're going to wake up feeling the same way that you did when you fell asleep. So really important to fall asleep in good feeling thoughts, right? And gratitude is going to really help you with that. And if, when you're feeling good, when you're feeling positive, you must attract good and positive to you. You can't not attract it. Now, the thing is that we have to take action, right? Because if there is no action, there cannot be a reaction. So there cannot be a result. But really important to take action from the right mindset, from the right frequency. Because really no amount of action can compensate for you having the wrong mindset, right? You can work 100 hours, but if it's coming from the wrong idea, from the wrong mindset, that's not going to do anything, and it's going to feel like a lot of effort. So we always say that success really is 95% mindset and 5% strategy and action, but you must take the action. You can't just sit on the sofa and just visualize 100% of the time and not take any action, because things won't change. So what we do is we get into the routine of writing down the things we're grateful for in the morning and the evening, and we visualize and we feel what we want. But the thing is that you can't just focus on the positive side of the spectrum in the morning and at night, and then all day think about the negative side. So one of the other things we do is we write down our goals and our wants, and we get emotionally involved with that. But you can't be positive about that for 10 minutes in the morning and positive about that for 10 minutes in the evening, and the rest of the day think negative thoughts about it and why you can't do it. Okay, because you do become what you mostly think about. So you've got to get into the habit, we talked about that yesterday, of guiding your thoughts to focus on the possibilities of how you can all day, or at least 50%, more than 50% of the time, right? And it takes practice. So one of the things you could do is you could set an alarm, I don't know, every couple of hours or every 3 hours. And when the alarm goes off, stop what you're doing and ask yourself, what am I thinking? How am I feeling? Are my thoughts good feeling, empowering thoughts, or are they negative, limiting thoughts? Am I complaining? Am I telling myself why I can't? Or am I focusing on coming up with ideas of how I can? Right? Now, your feelings are a great guide, because the thing is that when you're not feeling so good, it's actually telling you that you're involved with the wrong idea. You're thinking a thought that is not true. You're thinking something that is not going to get you to what you want. You're thinking something that isn't making you feel good. So it's just a message to you to say, okay, I'm not feeling so good. What am I thinking? Now I can adjust my thinking. So you can actually be extremely grateful for your negative thoughts, because your negative feelings, I should say, because when you become aware of them, you can tweak your thinking. And as you're tweaking your thinking, you're going to move further towards your goal rather than away from it. Okay? So your problems are on a very different frequency than the solutions, right? And I'll repeat, I said it on the first day, I think Albert Einstein, we cannot solve our problems with the same thinking that we used when we created them. And there is no question without an answer. Law of polarity. If there wasn't an answer, there would not be a question. If there was no solution, there would not be a problem. So whenever you encounter something, know that there is a solution for it, because otherwise you wouldn't have encountered it. Law of polarity. So you've got to attract things to you, you've got to magnetize yourself. You need to feel it to attract it. And that's really the big secret. Well, it's not really even a secret, but that's how you activate the law of attraction in your favor, by feeling good, by being on that higher frequency, that positive frequency. Now, in fact, the law of attraction is always in play, like all of the other laws of the universe, right? So, one of the laws that we're very familiar with would be the law of gravity, because we understand it, we know it exists, we understand it, and we work with it, right? We know that if we throw a ball up in the air, that it's going to come down. You know that if you jump off a building, that you're going to go down. So we really understand it. And because we fully understand how it works, we build the houses that we build, the buildings that we build. We know how to fly an aeroplane. We know how to ride a bike. We know how to walk. We know all the things that we're using. We use them and we build them because we totally understand how that law works. Now, there's so many other laws, whole different story. Maybe we'll do another masterclass on that one. But there are many, many other laws. And so this law of attraction is always in play, as is the law of gravity. We never worried about, okay, well, all of a sudden gravity is going to disappear, right? Because it's always working. It's always there, always in motion. And so the law of attraction is as well. Now, the thing is that we're always attracting something. But if we are on a negative vibe, if we are on a negative frequency, then we're going to attract negative things. So if we are not on the frequency of our goal, we are not going to attract our goal, right? So let's just make sure, now that we know it's always in play, that we are attracting the things that we want. And to do it, you've got to think about what you want and not about what you don't want. And you've got to emotionalize those thoughts with positive, good feelings. So really start to train your mind to go to that, right? Nobody forces you to accept a negative idea about something. You choose that. So choose to think on the positive side. And it really works, right? And it works we work it very subconsciously. That's why when things go well, things tend to continue to go well. When we're feeling good about something, all of a sudden that new client appears, or all of a sudden, when we're in love, everything else in life seems to really work out, right? Because you're feeling good, not because you're in love, just because you're feeling good. So here's a question for you. How many courses have you done? How many books have you read? We call them self-help books. How many seminars might you have attended? How many masterclasses, maybe like this one, have you listened to, right? And still not much changed, right? Well, that's because we're gathering information, but we're not then applying it. That's why, they keep saying do some of these exercises and write things down, because what you want to do is you want to gain the knowledge and then you want to apply it so that it's actually going to make a difference for you. So here's something that Jim Rohn said. I'll just read it. So there's no purpose in learning just for learning's sake. Wisdom and faith, as powerful as those two components are, serve no useful purpose unless they are deposited. Make a note of the word deposited. Wisdom and faith deposited into activity. Wisdom and faith put to work now produce a hotel, produces a salt vaccine, he says, produces a city, produces an institution of learning, produces a career, a relationship. Ideas and faith, believing that it is possible, that ideas can work miracles, now put to work. This is your action that you've got to take. So in my training, which is 12 modules over 6 months, so we spend 2 weeks on each of the modules. We do daily training videos, worksheets, all of that, and weekly sessions. And we basically take you on a learning journey. So we take you from setting the C-type goal to understanding your knowing doing gap. We talked about that yesterday. And then identifying some of your non-productive habits and actions and replacing them with productive ones. We talked also yesterday about the 6 mental muscles that we have. So how do we train them? We show you how to train those so that you stay in control of your thinking. Because remember, your thoughts create your feelings, your conditioning dictate your actions, which in turn control your results, right? And your feelings attract. So whatever you're thinking is creating your feelings, and that's what you're attracting. And then one of the other things we do is we take a deep dive into self-image. And self-image really is one of the biggest paradigms that we have, right? It's your self-image that basically dictates the life that you're living. How you see yourself is reflected in your environment, is reflected in the way that you live in your life, right? So someone who feels like if you see yourself as a busy person, then you will always be busy, because always something will come up that makes you busy. If you're an angry person, and we all know these people, right, in our environment, if you're an angry person, you always find something to be angry about. If you're, someone who complains about everything, you'll always find something to complain about. Okay, so it's your self-image that really determines the life that you're living. It's sort of, what's the word? It creates the temperature of your life. So we have a whole lesson on that's brilliant one, I love it. And then we talk about terror barrier. So this is explaining why we really give up. And it's really not what you think. It's really not because you think you can't do it. It's because you've got 2 types of energy going on basically in your body, because you have thoughts and paradigms that are holding you back, and then you have your goal that's pushing you forward. So there's a big mixture of different types of emotions and different types of energy going on, and that's what we call the terror barrier. And most people, because it's very uncomfortable, then go back and say, oh, it wasn't too bad, I'll just go back to how it was. But you can't, because your uniqueness wants to express itself, And, for a little while, it might feel comfortable because you gave up. But within weeks, it'll start to niggle again. Your idea will come up again. Then we have a lesson on attitude. And attitude actually is one of the biggest causes of success or failure. We talk about leadership. We do cover how to lead others, but especially how to lead yourself. Right? And then, we have one of the last lessons is about expanding the mind then through masterminding. Because if you put two people together, you've got a very strong force. If you put if you look at business or sports, if you have a team of people, a group of people that work in harmony towards the same objective, very, very powerful, right? We've all been part of a team that was really powerful because we all came together, like I said, in harmony towards the same objective. And we've all been part of a team, but that just did not happen. And we didn't get things done. So basically how it works is we study each lesson for 2 weeks and then immediately apply that knowledge. Right? So we immediately go into productive action, which means that actually very, very quickly you start seeing results, which is great, right? Because that's what you want. So the question is, are you ready to start making some meaningful and permanent upgrades? Really, are you ready in your daily life? So have a think about that. And all I want to say is, these 3 days have been amazing. Like I said, I absolutely love this stuff. And I know, it makes such a difference to people. Just a reminder that there is a workbook available. So if you don't already have it, then reach out and we'll send it across, because it's in fact the written work that's really going to make changes for you. Oh yeah, and then I nearly forgot the special offer. So what we're offering you is access to lesson 1 for 2 weeks. Well, you can have it forever, but you can work on it for 2 weeks. Then I'll do a free coaching session with you and a follow-up session. So it really gives you, well, it gets you going onto setting your goal, because that's what lesson 1's all about. And it will really give you some idea about what it is that we do and how we can help you. Right? And you really want to start figuring out what it is that you really want, right? Because if you don't do that now, then when are you going to do it? How long are you going to wait? Because maybe you've wanted something for a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, but there's always something that goes, oh, I'll do it when, when this has happened, then. But there's always something going to come up. People, when the time's right, I'll do it. But the time is never right, and actually the time is always right. But you have to decide. You've got to decide for yourself, okay, well, the way I'm living at the moment, I don't want to be living like this in a year's time, in 5 years, in 10 years' time. And I've got to change something now. And I would be more than happy, obviously, to work with you, because let's not wait any longer. Why make yourself wait? Why make your loved ones wait? So message or email me if you have any questions at all. I've thoroughly enjoyed the masterclass. I can't wait for the next one, which will be at some point in October. And I hope it was really valuable for you and it got you thinking, and got you especially thinking about what you want, and not be worried about how, and just start to open up your mind to the possibility that you can be, do, and have it all. Enjoy the rest of your week. I've loved having you here. Thank you very much for joining, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.